Biden in a Delaware federal courtroom today, pleading not guilty to 3 charges of lying about his drug use on a federal form he used to buy a gun back in 2018. And my take on this is a nuanced one. If this were anyone but the president's son, there would be no charges for this crime. But I also think that the facts of the case make it a difficult one to defend. Remember, today's hearing came after a plea Hunter's lawyers struck with the DOJ on the gun case and separate tax evasion charges that imploded over the summer, after the judge questioned both sides over ambiguity about whether Hunter could be prosecuted for any other crimes in the future and over whether what's called the non-prosecution agreement prosecutors had entered into, whether that should be part of the plea deal. Remember, there was a plea deal on the 2 tax charges, but prosecutors also promised not to prosecute on the gun charges as long as Hunter enrolled in what's called a diversion program. That was the non-prosecution part. It wasn't even really technically supposed to be part of the plea deal. It's basically a promise not to prosecute as long as he adheres to certain conditions, like not owning a gun, staying sober, random drug testing, etc. And the reason for that agreement? I have not been able to find another case ever where someone has been charged with this crime and the person has no prior criminal record, the gun wasn't used in the commission of a crime, it was just one gun, and no other crimes are being charged in connection with it. Charges include falsifying a federal firearms application, lying to a federally licensed gun dealer, possessing an illegally obtained gun for 11 days from October 12th to October 23rd of 2018. And yet with all of that, it still seems like it's going to be a tough case to defend if it survives legal challenges. Because Hunter Biden even says repeatedly in his own memoir that in 2018, his, quote, superpower, finding crack anytime, anywhere. This is just at the time when he got the gun. I never slept. There was no clock. Day bled into night, night into day. I was smoking crack every 15 minutes. Could now face up to 25 years, and no one thinks anything like that's possible. Hunter's attorney, Abby Lowell, says he's challenging the constitutionality of at least one of the charges and will argue that now Special Prosecutor David Weiss improperly reneged on the promise not to prosecute under political pressure. Today, he said, quote, these charges are the result of political pressure from President Trump and his MAGA allies to force the Justice Department to ignore the law and deviate from its policies in cases like this one. The only substantive and relevant changes since July, when the U.S. Attorney decided against pursuing these exact charges against Mr. Biden, has been various court rulings undermining the constitutionality of the law at issue here and a coordinated partisan attack on our system of justice by right-wing Republicans. Okay, it's true that these are charges that likely would not have been brought otherwise. That doesn't change the fact that if we're talking about the true letter of the law and the evidence, if the judge doesn't dismiss this charge, it sure sounds like it's going to be a difficult case for Hunter's lawyers. Joining me again is Ankush Khardori, former federal prosecutor, contributing editor for New York Magazine. All right, so Ankush, what do you make of Hunter Biden's legal team making sort of this aggressive stance in response to the charges?
Yeah, I share your assessment here, right? There's a big difference between saying that a case shouldn't have been brought as a matter of discretion and then dealing with the thing once it has been brought. All of those discretionary issues, for the most part, go out the window as far as the court is concerned. The defenses that we heard today are a very mixed bag, and you're right. He faces a real uphill battle here. The notion that the prior diversion agreement is somehow still in effect and binds the court, I think is going to be a very tough sell. They're effectively asking the judge, the same judge who tore up this agreement, basically threw it in the trash, had all these concerns about it, thought parts of it were unconstitutional, to now agree that she's somehow has to abide by it. I think that's highly unlikely to work. But then again, this is an unusual argument emerging from very unusual facts. The constitutionality argument, that might have some legs, right? The Fifth Circuit has issued a ruling that sort of provides Biden some support. And that could potentially be useful
Let's talk about that
before or after trial.
Let's talk about that. That's basically what, a Second Amendment argument, right?
Right. And so it would be deeply ironic and strange because Biden, the elder Biden, the president, and the Democratic Party generally oppose all these Supreme Court rulings, and the younger Biden would be trying to sort of take advantage of it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.